I'm talking Hulk Hogan. Are certain movies and albums really good, or is just everything else crap? And boomers, we gonna get into it. Let's get it. Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for our video podcast, YouTube exclusive content, and our YouTube memberships. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, I'm being dilly-dallying a little bit. Then my sister's going to join me for a segment, Am I a Jerk? And then I'm going to be talking about boomers. For once, they're saying something is good. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. Last week, 3 people died. And on the last show, me and my sister gave a tribute to Michael Jamal Warner, who was the first of the 3 people that died last week, the other 2 being Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. And, gave our tribute to Malcolm Jamal Warner, gave a sort of, shout out to Ozzy Osbourne. I didn't know much about him. My sister was more of a fan of Black Sabbath than I was, and we didn't say ish about Hulk Hogan. And there's reasons behind that. People have been asking me, because they know I'm a huge wrestling fan, what are my thoughts on it? And they wanted to know what my thoughts on the entire conversation going around Hulk Hogan's death, because there is a conversation going around it. And I've already given an entire segment talking about Hulk Hogan before the election because, I criticized him going out at the Republican National Convention, making a mockery, tearing off his shirt, doing a Hulk Hogan promo. I know that it's what Trump wanted. I just feel like it was completely silly, but Trump has made politics completely silly. Well, it's always been silly, but theater now. And since Hogan's death, there's been a conversation about his past. Not even the leaning into MAGA, but more about his racist comments and how he's treated Black people in the past. Now, wrestlers used to not talk about the behind the scenes stuff. It's called breaking kayfabe. Kayfabe is living the gimmick and giving the portrayal that professional wrestling is real. Before the 90s, 2000s, before the 2000s, definitely before the 2000s, but more so before the 90s, wrestlers pretended that it was real. A lot of people got confused whether it was real or scripted, not fake, because the stuff hurts, but scripted. And a lot of wrestlers have been doing these interviews, breaking kayfabe for the last, I don't know, maybe 30 years, definitely for the last 25 years. One of the wrestlers that spoke very poorly about Hulk Hogan and his treatment of minority wrestlers was Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown was a wrestler that came out of Canada, Black man, had a great feud with Hulk Hogan. Jake the Snake Roberts worked over in Japan, legit judo champion, 100% legit. He had been saying not only Hulk Hogan, but also Andre the Giant was a racist. And then that rant came out with Hulk Hogan, saying the N-word several times and truly saying that he had a very low opinion of Black people. He apologized. And what I will say about apologies are, a couple of shows ago, I talked about the 4 stages of apologies. And, one of the stages is asking for the acceptance, asking for forgiveness. Here's the thing about apologies. You ain't just because somebody gave you an apology doesn't mean that you have to forgive anybody. Like, you don't have to forgive anybody just because you apologize. And some people are choosing not to forgive Hulk Hogan for the things that he said. Other people are saying, well, it shouldn't matter. He apologized and I forgave him. Okay. And other people are saying, should we even be bringing up bad stuff when this man just passed away? And I can't give you a long dissertation about what I think is the right decision because I don't know what the right decision is. When the day that I take my final breath and I go down for that final sleep, there'll be people that speak very kindly of me. There'll be people that speak very highly of me. There's a whole segment of the population that are not going to speak very highly of me. And some of them are not justified, but some of them are. Some of them have real justification to not like me as a person, especially if you were dealing with me like 20 years ago. I was a complete asshole. Yeah, I admit it. I was a jerk. Selfish, self centered, self absorbed, toxic. Any woman that dated me in my 20s got the worst version of me. They really did. And I hurt a lot of people, not just women, people that were friends. I've had friends just be like, I'm not gonna be Bruce's friend anymore. And I get it. I'm not the greatest friend. I'm still not that great of a friend. I'm great as a friend as I will always be there for you. I'm loyal, but don't expect to hear from me that often. Don't expect to see me that often because I'm busy and I don't really feel like it. But in all honestly, like I don't when I go, there's going to be some people that speak badly of me. And I don't know if they're right or wrong. I mean, people have the right to feel the way they do about a particular situation. And your initial emotion is typically the emotion that's how you feel, right? I'm not going to tell people what they can and can't do, but people have been asking me, how do I feel? And I say, F Hulk Hogan. Not just because, look, I was a little Hulkamaniac. Hulk Hogan for the longest time, my early years until about 10, right? So I started watching wrestling around 4 to 10. So for 6 years, which is basically the height of his major run when he was the immortal one Hulk Hogan, not when he became Hollywood Hogan, but when he was the immortal Hulk Hogan and the yellow tights. Oh man, I was a little Hulkamaniac. Oh, I don't know too many people that were a Hulkamaniac. I was so big of a Hulkamaniac that when he and Ultimate Warrior wrestled at WrestleMania 6, because I was a huge little warrior too, I was still riding for Hogan. I was still riding for Hogan. I mean, I loved Hulk Hogan. I I said my prayers. I ate my little Flintstone vitamins. You know, he what he said was gold to me. So I was a huge Hulkamaniac. I even had a shirt. Look, let me tell you how big of a Hulk Hogan fan I was. In 2005, he had a match against Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. It was in Washington, D.C. SummerSlam that year was in Washington, D.C. I was working for Hard Rock Cafe, and they had a suite. And at that time, I believe it was the MCI Center. It has changed so many names. I don't remember what it was, but the arena in Washington, D.C. Okay. And I got to go. And everybody in that suite was a Shawn Michaels fan. They hated Hulk Hogan. I was in there with people who were in the wrestling business. Okay. So it was really dope. I went to the concession stand. I bought my Hulkamania t-shirt and I lost my mind in 2005, just 20 years ago. I lost my mind celebrating Hulk Hogan. So I've been a Hulkamaniac all my life, all my life. When I saw and heard what he said, first of all, he didn't say the N word one time. He didn't say it one time. He said it multiple times. And the reason why he was saying it is because that particular person had some situation with his daughter, whether that was a boyfriend or friend or whatever, had a situation with his daughter. He didn't like it. And in that tirade that he had, not only did he say the N word multiple times, he said the N word with the hard R and S at the end, implying multiple black people. He said, am I a little racist? Yes. But first of all, you can't be a little racist. Either you're racist or you're not. And he was racist. And the only reason why he apologized is not because he had this come to Jesus moment. It's because he got fired. When that tape got leaked, he got fired. It was messing up his bread. Now, okay, I can't say for sure that his apology meant nothing. I can't say that. And I'm saying my opinion is his apology meant nothing, that he just did it because he didn't want to mess up his bread, because his actions afterwards further reinstated he didn't give a damn about black people, just about what he was saying about Kamala Harris. So he never changed. So even though he apologized, I don't got to forgive him. And there are people out there that don't have to forgive him. And I'm not wrong for saying I don't want to forgive him. They say, well, you Christian, you're supposed to give grace. Yeah, okay. Look, I ain't Jesus. I never claimed to be. Look, they say you're supposed to give grace, but hey, I try every day to be a better person. Grace ain't something I can give to Hulk Hogan. Not in this time. I guess not ever. Not unless he had a pre-tape recording before he died saying I'm apologizing to all the black people in America for the things that I said. I might be able to find forgiveness for him then. But had he never said those things, I would have shed a tear just like I did for Malcolm Jamal Warner, because part of my childhood died. But when he showed me that the love that I had for his character, Hulk Hogan, and for what I thought that person represented, when he showed me that that love was not reciprocated, I'm out on him, and I'm not going to shed any tears, no matter how good he made me feel at a certain point in time. The ending of how he made me feel was sadness. Sadness that a person that I looked up to as a little kid hated my very existence. So for those people that are conflicted, they don't know what to do, go with the initial emotion. Go with the emotion that you felt when you first heard the news, and that's how you truly feel. You don't have to be conflicted. You're just like, I don't really know how to talk about it. Talk about it however it comes out of your mouth. It tends to be the truth that truly means how you feel. Doesn't have to be complicated. It could be very simple. And for those people that are saying it's not that big of a deal, it's a forgivable offense, you tend to see non-black people saying that. And I would say it's always easy to forgive somebody's sin when that sin doesn't have any direct relation to you. He said that about us, not you. You can't tell me who I have to forgive when it doesn't concern you. Shut the hell up. That's how I feel about those people. They just trying to make excuses because they know they might get caught up in a videotape where they say the same things. I had a friend say, it's not that big of a deal. Black man, it's not that big of a deal. We all say things behind closed doors. And he's right in that regard. Look, I say things behind closed doors I don't want to get out in public. Not so much anymore, but back in the day, yes. I said a lot of things that I don't want to get out in public. So, yes, I can understand that. There's a difference between playing in the stereotypes and being mean-spirited and being hateful. Even if it's an off-color joke, that doesn't mean that you hate a particular group. It means you got poor taste and humor. And all of us have a little bit of dark humor. But when you disparage a whole group of people because you hate them, those aren't the same things as playing in the stereotypes. So I told my friend, okay, I hear what you're saying. I completely disagree because this is not apples to apples. This is apples to oranges. And he actually had power that could affect other people because he hired and fired people. There's a rumor going around. I haven't been able to confirm this is absolutely true, but there is a rumor that's going around that there was a black influencer that was going to, support or be influencing for his American-made beer. He found out that they were black and decided not to do business with them. And this was after the so-called apology. So he told me who he was. And so I'm not going to mourn his death. I mourn the loss of my childhood. That's what I mourn. You know what else I mourn? To completely switch subjects, the Clipse just dropped an album. And it's a really good album. It is really good. And I'm going to talk about the album in a minute in a larger macro sense. But I just found out yesterday yesterday from the day of this recording that Pusher and Malice are not twins. If you're listening to this, you might be finding out for the first time. I'm from Virginia. I'm not far from where they're from right now. I grew up not far from where they lived. Did not know that they weren't twins because they look exactly alike. I swore when they came out, they were twins. They are not twins. And this it's not just me. A lot of people are finding out for the first time that not just that they're not twins, that they are 4.5 years apart. Alice is 52 years old, Pusha is 47. That's crazy to me. It's crazy how you think you know things and then the internet, right? A little bit of research, you find out, oh, no, they're just brothers. Just one older and younger brother, not older and younger twins, older and younger brother. They are not twins. That is crazy. But going to a larger macro conversation. I was talking to my sister, and if you caught the after hours, then you'll probably catch this conversation that me and my sister had, in which a lot of people are saying that this Clipse album is a classic. And I said, it's not a classic. And but you are hearing a lot of people say that it's a classic album. And I'm like, look, the album is great. But when you say something is a classic, first of all, to me, there's only a few classic albums. Nas Illmatic, Biggie Ready to Die, Jay-Z, Blueprint, Hard Knock Life, and American Gangster. That doesn't get talked about enough. What else are classic albums? I mean, Michael Jackson, Bad is classic. Off the Wall and Thriller, they're all classic. For me, Prince, Purple Rain is classic. You know, it's not a top 25 classic albums for my lifetime. I'm going for my lifetime. Anything before me, I wasn't there when it popped. I can't talk about that. So I'm not going to talk about that. I should refrain. Since 1980 to 9, there's only a handful of classic albums. And there's only a handful of hip hop rap classic albums. I named all of them except for Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and Wu-Tang, the first Enter the 36 Chambers. That's a classic album. But to compare this album to those, I was like, no, it's not a classic album. And then we get into these conversations where we say things are great or classic now. And I think it's because we're comparing it to today. And there's a lot of crap coming out today. Sinners. You know how much I really love Sinners. I love Sinners. Do you know I have not watched it again? I got it right now, Amazon Prime or HBO Max or whatever. I can watch it right now. I have not watched it again. That lets me know it's a great movie. It's not a classic movie. Because if it's a classic movie, I'm going to stop and watch it if it was on TV, right? Like Goodfellas is classic. New Jack City is classic. You know, Godfather is classic. Scarface is classic. There are some classic movies that you start. Shawshank Redemption. There are some movies that when they're on TV, even though you're flipping channels, you're going to stop and watch a little bit. That's classic. The problem is most of the stuff that's being made on both television and movies is crap because everybody's got a deal now. There's so many different platforms and streaming services that these companies need to put up content. And you know what? If you're going to keep putting up content, hire me to write some stuff. I got some great ideas. You know, if everybody's just going to put out crap, let my crap get out there because a lot of it is absolute crap. It's not good. It's really, really not good. And in comparison, when something comes out that is great for its time, it gets compared to things at its time. And if everything else is bad, it gets elevated. I gave my sister an analogy on the after hours. I said, if you're having a crappy week, if 6 of those days are crappy, and that 7th day, maybe it's a good day. Maybe it's a good day. Because those other 6 days have been so crappy, that regular good day in your mind is going to be considered a great day because it was surrounded by crap. My sister disagrees with me, but I'm like, okay, you're wrong. And I'm right. Okay. When you're surrounded by crap, you get elevated. When you're surrounded by dumb people, you think you smart. You might not be that smart. You might be smart in the company that you keep. You see what I'm saying? There are people out there that think they can sing. Maybe in their group or the company that they have, they're good. They're the good singer. That doesn't mean that they're a good singer. Do you see what I'm saying here? So, is the Clipse album great? Yeah, it's really good. It's got some songs on there that I think are classic songs that I think that I'm going to listen to 20, 30 years from now. Yes, I do believe that. But is the entire album something that I'm going to listen to 20 or 30 years from now? No, which means it's not classic. And then people will say, well, Bruce, that's all subjective. And okay, yes. But what isn't subjective is what people deem as the classic, right? Like whether you've seen Godfather or not, you know that's a classic movie because all the accolades that it's won and the reverence of which people talk about it. And then when you watch it, hey, it might not be your taste, but you can admit, oh, like this was well done. This was well put together, well formatted, great actors in it. Yes, it's just not my cup of tea. I could say that about the Clipse album, but it is my cup of tea. And it's refreshing to hear real production, real songs, because a lot of these younger generation, and that's their thing. And I'm not knocking it because I like a lot of it, but the younger generation makes like these 2-minute songs. And the structures of the songs are completely different. This was old school. These were songs that had structure and full production. Pharrell went into his bag on this. It's a great album, just not classic. Sinners is a great movie, just not classic. And I'm not being a contrarian when I say that, but I think people, because of what it's surrounded by, elevate it higher than what it actually is if you put it in the totality of its particular genre or the particular category of which it is. Hip hop rap, the Clipse album, good, great, not classic. It's not Ready to Die. It's not Reasonable Doubt. It's not Illmatic. It's not it's not Equimini, right? Like it's not that good. It's good, but it's not that good. It'd be like, I don't know, let's take sports. Let's take Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, who's right here from the DC area. Kevin Durant is a great basketball player, one of the greatest. He's not in the GOAT conversation, right? He's not in the GOAT conversation. Great. Top 75 player, no arguments here. Franchise player, generational talent, cool. Not in the GOAT conversation. There's levels to this. That's all I'm saying. It's not knocking it down. And I know I'm gonna get some hate because people gonna be like, it's a classic album. It's a classic album for right now. But it's not a classic album, right? It's a great album for right now. And if you want to put it classic based on what's coming out right now, okay. But I'm putting it against everything. And I'm saying, it's not that. It's a great album. Sinners is a great movie. Superman is a great movie. It's not a classic. It's not Richard Donner's Superman. I can watch Richard Donner's Superman right now. I have not gone back to the movie theater to watch Superman. It was a really, really good movie. I haven't gone back. And I know people are going to, say what my sister said. Bruce is just your taste. Okay. All right. Maybe. But my argument has a lot of validity to it. And if you take a step back, you realize, all right, Bruce might be on to something. Let me give you one more analogy before I end this segment. If everybody in a room smell like ass and one person just smell like they took a shower that day, so they don't smell like ass, that person is actually going to smell real nice compared to everybody smelling like ass. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Everything else smells like ass. and the Clipse album, Just Get Out the Shower. Jay, the most important thing in my life, this is a complete exaggeration, is not being a jerk. That's a lie, because my whole personality is being a jerk. But sometimes I get called a jerk, and I'm actually not a jerk.
Okay, I would like to know the percentage. Like, what percentage of time are you actually being a jerk versus not being a jerk?
I would say I'm a jerk about 90% of the time.
Okay. So then it's a negligible amount.
Yeah.
The time that you not being a jerk.
Right. So went on my favorite social media site, Reddit, and found a Am I a Jerk segment that hits close to home for both of us. Okay. Because I used to be, and you currently are, dog owners. And I don't even like that term, dog owners.
No, I'm a dog mom. I'm a dog parent.
Dog parent. Right. Okay. Dog parents. And this is about a dog situation and neighbors. So this is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Helping My Neighbor After the Dog Attacked Mine? Now, just from taking the title, do you think this person is a jerk?
No.
Yeah. All right. I got to ask, when have there been times that we've done these and you thought the person was overreacting or the person was a jerk? Oftentimes you're like, nah, I agree with them.
You got to understand, it's written from this person's perspective, right?
Yes.
So and a person is never going to really take it to the internet if they weren't sure that they probably weren't the jerk. They just want people to
affirmation.
There's people, there's affirmation. You want validation because there's people close to you that is calling you a jerk. Typically moms who get involved if they need to mind their business. But people close to you are saying you're being a jerk. You like, I'm pretty sure I'm not. Let me take it to the internet. So 9 times out of 10, I'm going to agree this person is not the jerk and they're not overreacting. They're not the asshole.
Okay. All right. So let me read what this person wrote. I'm a 35-year-old male, and I have a small dog named Benny, who's basically my best friend. My neighbor, Tom, 40-ish male, has a huge German Shepherd that he never leashes properly. 2 weeks ago, I was walking Benny when Tom's dog got loose and attacked him. Benny needed immediate emergency surgery, and a vet bill was $1,800. Tom said that he was sorry, but claimed his dog was just playing, and refused to pay anything. Yesterday, Tom knocked on my door asking if I could help him move some furniture because he hurt his back. I told him I wasn't available, and he seemed confused and asked if everything was okay between us. I explained that I was still upset about the vet bill and felt like he should take responsibility. He got defensive and said accidents happen and I shouldn't hold grudges. Then he called me petty for punishing him over something his dog did. My wife thinks I should have just helped him because we have to live next to each other, and it would have been a neighborly thing to do. But I'm still angry and don't feel like doing him any favors right now. Benny is fine, but limps sometimes, and I'm worried about the long-term effects. Am I being a jerk?
No.
I knew you were going to say
his wife. No, and his wife needs to mind her business.
So wives and moms?
Yeah. Ladies, sometimes, seriously, mind your business. I'm going to have a whole lot of men's rights.
The man in spirit is going to be like, she's speaking the truth.
She's speaking the truth, ladies. Mind your business. No, absolutely not. But situations like this, it's between him and that dude. First of all, you should have taken his ass to court. He is 100% responsible for that vet bill, and you should not let him off. They were just playing. Just playing doesn't cost me $1,800. Okay, just playing is they just playing and everybody can go on about their business. Just playing cost me almost $2,000. So until you run me my 2 racks, don't ask me for nothing. Nothing. And then it's the neighborly thing to do. Y'all kill me with this. Y'all kill me. Don't ever ask me to be the bigger person. Because just know 9 times out of 10, I am being the bigger person. So that one time where I'm not being the bigger person, I got a reason. So don't ever ask me to be the bigger person. Stop telling people that. Stop telling, oh, we got to live next to him. And we're going to live in disharmony. We're going to live in disharmony until he pays me my 2 racks, period. I don't care. He needs to leash that dog up because the next time I'm going to kick his damn dog and we'll see how much we've been playing then. Nah, run me my 2 racks or we just going to be living eyeballing each other, not saying nothing, not helping each other out. Oh, well, you hurt your back. Sorry for you. My dog limps. Looks like we both got problems.
I wonder if this is the Tom from MySpace. Okay. So I have a major problem with the neighbor, Tom, and we would have serious beef. Now, I'm stupid in this regard. And ladies and gentlemen, I know this is stupid. Since he thought that the dogs were just playing, and that $1,800 bill was just some playing, I would play with Tom.
Yeah.
You know what? We just playing.
We just playing. I'm going to just play with your ass until you need emergency surgery and it costs you $1,800.
Right.
So we going to do that. And I'm going to whoop your ass like your dog whoop my ass. Your dog whoop my dog's ass. I'm going to whoop your ass. And then I'm gonna get my licks back, and that'll make up for the 2 racks you owe.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and put you in emergency surgery and have you limp for a little while. Your back already hurt.
Yeah.
Your back gonna hurt a little bit more with this body slam. I do not play with people owing me money. You owe me money, bro. Your dog. First of all,
I owe you $60 right now. I just remembered that in this moment.
Who, me personally?
So yes. And I apologize, and I will cash up you right after the show.
Well, good. It's nice. I always have $60.
Yeah, I apologize. I remembered that in this moment. I said,
I'm cutting this all out. I'm not keeping this in the show.
No, keep that in. Keep that in, because that's real. I forgot your play, but and I owe $60, and that's on me.
Well, I think it's a little bit more than $60. But anyway, let's move on. But yeah, no. Look, dogs should be leashed. If your dog, if you can't control your dog, dogs should be leashed. I was walking with one of my friends. She just moved in. She moved back to the area. Got 2 dogs, and I'm just in love with. And I don't have my dog anymore. I told her when she need help and I'm available, I made that very clear. When I'm available, I'm going to definitely help you out because I love these dogs. And we were walking to an area that I'm very familiar with. And I was just like, let's make this right turn. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, there's a whole bunch of dog people over there. And I was like, yeah, they like to let their dogs just run loose. And they were like, it was small dogs. And I was like, small dogs are the worst because those are the ones that will bite you the most.
Yeah.
Big dogs really don't be biting like that. It's the little small yappy dogs. One of my clients has a small yappy dog, and I was going to go for one of the sessions, and she was walking her dog, and I wanted to go up and pet the dog, and she said to me, he bites. My dog bites. And I was like, oh, okay, that's all you need to tell me. Little small dog, right? But she had the dog on the leash. She understands I keep my dog close to me because I know my dog bites. If you know or think that a German Shepherd is just playing nicely with a small dog that leads to an $800 vet bill.
Yeah.
That $1,800 vet bill that I'm going to play with you. You know I love to tell stories. Here's another one. The reason why I stopped taking Krypto to the local big dog park. One day, Krypto was not a big dog. He was small considering the fact that he was part pit, part beagle. But he's very playful. And he's running loose and he's running around it all around the dog park. But I know my dog. He won't bite people. Okay. He won't bite dogs. He's gonna play, but he won't bite dogs. And there's this big dog. I can't remember what it was. He sees Krypto, he charges for Krypto, he knocks Krypto over, he's standing over top of Krypto, not letting him up. I know as a dog person, they're not playing. That's one dog establishing their dominance. Now the owner is not paying attention. And I was like, hey, can you get your dog? They're not really playing. He was like, no, they're playing. I was like, no, playing is when they're going back and forth. Your dog is just standing over top of my dog. this is an issue for me.
Yeah.
So he goes, grabs his dog on a leash, walks his dog off. Me and Krypto go in another direction. No sooner than 5 minutes later, this dog once again comes charging for my dog, knocks over Krypto, standing over top of him again. And I go, hey, yo, my man, come get your dog.
Yeah.
Right? So he comes and gets his dog again. Just as he's getting his dog, one lady walks by and says, oh, no, you don't have to leash your dog. He says, well, no, this gentleman has a problem with my dog. I said, no, I don't have a problem with my dog. I have with your dog. I have a problem with you not being able to control your dog. They're not playing. Your dog is dominating. Then there's another couple that walks past right after that. The woman says they're just playing. I looked directly at the man. The man in that couple looked at me and was just like, bro, like, she shouldn't have said nothing. Just please. Because I'm like, hey, man, I'm not going to address your woman. I'm going to address you because I can't really, but I can break you down.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, yeah, they're just playing. I was like, okay, well, I could turn into, it was a Rockwilder. I was like, I could turn into a Rockwilder as well. We could play. You want to play? Are you threatening me? I said, no, I'm warning you. There's a difference. Take your dog away. And I never took Krypto to that dog park ever again because they weren't good dog people. They were not good dog parents. This dude, Tom, not a good dog parent. You owe me $1,800 and you're going to have the audacity to come over and ask me, can I help you move some furniture? First of all, what was my man again? 35 years old? We too old to be moving furniture around the house anyway. You need to pay somebody for that.
No,
Matter of fact, use that $1,800 that you ain't paying me to go hire some people. Go hire some folks.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the one or the two.
Or the 3 or the 4. I don't care what it is.
Not going to help you. You SOL.
Yeah.
SOL.
No, not until you run me my money, period.
So what's my man's name
Because we can be in front of Judge Judy real quick.
Oh, yeah. Like, it would have been, the money thing is a real issue for me. $1,800 ain't sure.
Yeah.
The dog's name was Benny. He doesn't say what his name is, but Benny's owner, bro, you are not being a jerk.
No, not at all.
Matter of fact, I feel like you ain't being stern enough.
Right. And your lady need to be around it now. What's going on? What's happening?
I get it. Some people, look, we're confrontational.
I'm not confrontational, but I'm not a doormat. That's the thing. I'm going to protect myself. I'm never gonna start anything. I'm not confrontational. But
that's my definition of confrontation. Like when conflict comes, we're not going to run from it.
No, I don't ever want a problem.
We don't initiate conflict.
It's like what if 50 say I don't ever want a problem.
50. This is my greatest. This is my favorite quote. Hold on. I'm with you. This is 50 Cent.
Go ahead. You got it.
I love this quote. I don't want a problem. I don't want no problems. But if you want a problem, no problem.
Yeah. I don't ever want a problem. But if you want a problem, I say no problem.
Right. And me and Tom would have a serious problem. We would
absolutely have a problem because your dog attacked mine to the point where he needed surgery. It cost me $1,800. You owe me for that. Period. Your dog wasn't properly leashed. You are responsible for your dog. That's the reason why there are laws out there that you will go to jail if you mistreat your animal, just like if you mistreat your child. There's a reason why there are laws like that, because you're responsible for your dog. I know my dog, my oldest, do you know Roni? She sometime me with other dogs. Because I know that, I don't keep her unleashed. If there's other dogs around, I tighten up that leash real quick. She don't have a whole lot of room because I know that she might try to attack and dominate another dog.
Yeah, she did.
And then when they try to bring their dog over, I'm like, she's not friendly. I'll say that. I'll be like, she's not friendly. Roscoe, he's friendly.
Yeah.
But Roni's, I have to be like that with her and say she's not friendly. And so, but I keep her right there. I don't let her just roam and do whatever she want to do because I know she's like that. So people, you are responsible for your animal, period. If they do something, you are vicariously liable. If you don't know what that means, look it up. Google exists. But you're liable.
I think I used the wrong.
We need to pay you your money.
Yeah, I think I used the wrong word too. Saying conflict, tension. Tension really is the right word because his wife doesn't want any tension with the neighbor, and I can understand that people don't like living in tension. I actually thrive in
That ain't got
tension.
nothing to do.
Yeah, I
He don't
actually
have
thrive.
nothing to do with me. He don't have nothing to do with me. So that as far as I'm concerned, the only tension is you owe me $2,000. But
You
aside
keep
from
rounding up.
that,
It's 1,800. You
but
gonna
you know
add
how
pain
we
and
are.
suffering? Yeah.
If we see something and it's 32.88, we be like
Yeah,
$40.
that's $40.
That's $40.
Yeah, that's
So
$40.
so this is $2,000. You owe me $2,000. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say $1,800. You owe me $2,000
Well, pain and
because
suffering.
now it's payment suffering.
Yep.
Yeah, and the fact that I had to run behind you to come get my money. Now you owe me $2,000.
The fact that you try to blow it off as no big deal, make that
Yeah.
2,300.
Right.
I need the extra
Because if we
5
take
on
it
top
to
of it.
court, because if we take it to small claims, I'm asking for the full $5,000. So you could pay me $2,000 now, or you could pay me $5,000 later. Figure it out.
Plus lawyer fees.
Boom.
There you go. So, my man, you're not being a jerk. Matter of fact, I feel like you need to be a jerk in this scenario. And you also need, check your wife is not the right term, but you need to address the fact that your wife needs to have your back, because isn't Benny her dog as well?
Right.
And that came out of your household, $1,800 out of your household. That was no $1,800 that y'all was expecting to spend.
No.
Y'all could have gone on vacation.
The hell I would have raised.
Right.
Living in tension, or we gonna be living in tension.
You're
gonna be able to cut it with a knife.
We're gonna be living in tension intentionally.
Intentional tension.
Say that 5 times fast.
I can't. I could barely say it once. The hell? Nah, I don't have no problem with that. We can go back to harmony soon as you pay me my $2,000.
2 racks, son. Run that. All right, I'm going to end the show with something a little cool. We kill boomers because they complain, and a lot of it is justified because, oh boy, one of the most toxic generations. Just shut up sometimes. But in this BuzzFeed article, boomers are talking about some things that have improved since the early 2000s. So they're saying these things are good. Probably the reason why they're saying it is because the early 2000s are them in adulthood, like they were close to my age, right? In the early 2000s, because it was 25 years ago. So they were probably like, I guess a boomer could be 30 years old. No, I feel like that would be Gen X. Probably in 2000s, boomers were probably like 35, because that would mean they were like 60 now. So you're 35, you're an adult. So this isn't harking back to your childhood. This is, you were in adulthood. You were in your life, okay? And so this BuzzFeed article is boomers are sharing what genuinely improved since the early 2000s. And I never realized some of these. It was written by Danica Ramirez from the BuzzFeed staff. And these are just quotes from the BuzzFeed article that boomers said. And I'm just going to comment on some of the stuff they said because they made some very, very good points. Some of this is going to be like, Bruce, haven't you talked about this before? And I was like, yeah, but that was from a millennial Gen X point of view. This is boomers. So this is boomers saying this. This is boomers backing up my arguments. So I'm always going to take that. All right. So one of the boomers said, food, transportation, and availability. Thanks to globalization, I can afford to eat fresh Norwegian salmon and Peruvian blueberries in Bangkok for less than they would cost in the US. Okay, well, I don't live in Bangkok, okay? But I can say, because of globalization and transportation and technology, we can have food from all over the world at the palm of our hands. We can literally order stuff from Uber Eats or go to different restaurants or even just go on the internet and have stuff shipped to us. I'll get into that later. Technology has made it so we could try different things. And I think that's so dope because people, this is what I mean by this. When you go to Italy, you realize the Italian food that we've gotten here in the United States ain't the same. When you've gone to China, you realize that the Chinese food that we got in the United States ain't the same. When you go to Mexico, and you eat Mexican food, you realize the Mexican food in Mexico is not the same as it is in the United States. People that come here that bring their food here Americanize it. So it's not the same as when you would go to those countries and get real authentic cuisine. Not There are some places that will do that, right? But by and large, what's mass produced as far as ethnic food has been Americanized. But if you want to get some real Chinese food, not Americanized, some real Chinese food, you can. There's restaurants here in Washington, D.C. There's a few of them now that are in Chinatown, which is smaller than what it used to be, that are real Chinese restaurants where you could try real, authentic Chinese food, not Americanized Chinese food. That is dope. That is dope that you don't have to go to China to be able to try something that is authentically Chinese food. So yeah, I mean, and they're right. That is a new thing because it damn sure wasn't happening in the 90s. It wasn't. That's the truth. All right. Another thing somebody said, the percentage of people who smoke cigarettes has decreased. Now, I said this before. The number of people who are smoking has absolutely decreased because whether it was my generation or Gen X, it was somewhere in the 70s and 80s. But I have aunts who are like my big sisters who are 8 years older than me. They still smoke. They grew up smoking, 80s, they were smoking. We tried it in the 90s and we was like, yo, this kind of sucks. My breath stinks afterwards. I got this weird aftertaste. Um, and it makes your clothes smell. Like I hated the smoke smell. I used to get a ride from a young woman in high school, and I decided to take the bus because she was a smoker. And I was like, look, I can't be going to school smelling like smoke. It stinks. And so a lot of people stop smoking. A lot of people stop smoking. Also, you can't smoke nowhere anymore. Like my building is non-smoking. There's a lot of buildings. There's a lot of residential buildings that are non-smoking. If you want to smoke in my building, and I'll snitch on you in a minute because I don't want to smell no smoke in my place. If you want to smoke in my building, you have to go outside in the designated smoke area. We have balconies and everything. You can't even smoke on your balcony. You can't. So smoking is just inconvenient. And this all started like in the 90s and the early 2000s. I knew in Virginia when they got smoking sections out of the restaurants, because I was a part of the restaurant industry when this change was happening. I was so happy. I was so happy because I hate the smell of smoke. Make you stink. And so people aren't doing it. So that is a good thing that's happened since the 2000s. So go ahead, boomers. Another thing the boomers have said that's improved since the 2000s, online banking is straightforward and convenient. I was later adapter. Also, attitudes towards sex and gender are generally much better. I'll get into the attitudes to sex and gender later because another person made a comment about that. I want to talk specifically about online banking. Look, Gen Z kids and a lot of millennials don't know nothing about balancing a checkbook. I am the last remnants of having to balance a checkbook. I got my first checking account, I think I was 17 years old. I had to balance that bad boy because yes, we did have the internet, but online banking wasn't really a thing. I was literally writing out checks. I was writing out checks till 2010, maybe 2012, 13, somewhere around there, still writing checks. Online banking was a thing, but back in the day before there was online banking, you had to go to your checkbook and you had to balance your checkbook. You had to use the credits and debits, use math. If you had a calculator, you go ahead and do that. But that's how you kept track of how much money you had if you ain't go to the bank. You could call, I remember correctly, you could call, but you couldn't just log into the mobile website and check your balance instantaneous. We know exactly what's in our account. There shouldn't be no surprises, even though there always is. Shouldn't be no surprises because we got online banking, and I am so grateful for it. Because let me tell you something, balancing that checkbook, and I'm good at math, was a pain in the butt. The next thing a boomer said that was good, that's improved from the 2000s to now, GPS. I started driving when you had to use a map or ask someone else for directions. MapQuest was a revelation, but still required a bit of attention. Now I can get anywhere in America with turn by turn directions from my phone. Look, let me tell you something. I was started driving when maps was a thing. MapQuest came out later, came out a couple of years later. But maps, when I moved to Washington, D.C., I had just turned 16. I don't know my way around. There were these maps that were designated by counties, and you would go like, okay, I want to go here. And you would see where it was in the back of the map, and it would tell you, go to this page, and it would be like A4 or something like that. And you had to follow the line and then write down, because you didn't want to try to read the map as you was driving. So you write down little notes, step-by-step directions on where you had to go to. Then there came MapQuest that gave you the step-by-step directions, but you had to print them out, or you could try to write them down, which I was never good at, because I would always be like, oh, I know where to go from there. And then would get lost all the time. That cost me one time where I was going to meet a young lady out on a date, and I got lost using MapQuest because I thought I knew where I was going to go after a certain point of the directions. I did not ruin the date. We eventually hung out months later, but she told me on that date, well, I don't need to tell you what happened on that date, but it would have been a good night for me. So yes. And then I remember when the Garmin first came out. I mean, you had to spend some bread for it, but like I remember me and my ex-wife getting the Garmin because I was like, hey, look, I don't know where to go or how to get anywhere outside of my comfort zone. And we would do drives to New Jersey to go visit some family, New York, different parts of Maryland, different parts of Virginia. That Garmin was important. Now it's all on our phone. They even tell you where to go. Turn here. And they don't be wrong, give you good directions. Things have definitely improved since the 2000s. Thank you, technology. Here's another thing that a boomer said that's improved since the 2000s. In my lifetime, streaming. My family first got a VCR when I was 7. I have some vague memories from before then, like only having 3 channels on the TV, but then renting happened after VCR, and the concept of the video store was renting a movie is the same cost as a single movie ticket. But now you can bring the family and pause it. It was pricey, but still had tremendous value. I was 21 when TiVo came out, when you could suddenly record basically any show. When Netflix started streaming, I was 30. Okay, I think this person is a little younger to be a boomer, because I think, no, when Netflix started streaming, I feel like that was like 2007 maybe. So I was 27 and I'm nowhere close to a boomer. So I think this is a Gen X person. But what they're saying is true. The technology has gotten better. I do miss video stores. But in 2000, I believe I was working at a video store. I was working at a video store. That's what we had. DVDs were out. Blu-ray was not out yet in 2000. Blu-ray didn't come out, and there was 2. There was Blu-ray and HD DVDs, and Blu-rays actually propelled and HD DVDs stopped being produced. But yeah, streaming is a huge part. Look, I guarantee you what you want to watch isn't on Netflix. Okay, what movie you want to watch isn't on Netflix, but the fact that we do have access to that, really dope. So yes, that is definitely an improvement from the 2000s. Another person said the availability of random products with the internet. You can buy nearly anything online. That is true. I think anything legally you can buy online, and even some stuff illegally you can buy online too. Like you can get anything you want, and you can have it at your place maximum about 2 weeks if it's overseas. Think of how convenient that is. People didn't have it like that in the 2000s. I remember like there were certain wrestling companies I could never see, their shows because they weren't their tapes weren't available for me. I didn't even know how to get them. If you miss certain TV shows at a certain time, you missed them, right? If you missed them, the series on HBO, you had to wait for that DVD the following year because you missed it. So yeah, the ability to order and get anything off the internet has been a blessing. That is definitely true. And another person said internet speed. Let me tell you something. Internet speed used to be tragic, but we didn't realize it was tragic. I remember downloading music and movies, and it would take all night long and still wouldn't be done. It would take 15, 16, 17 hours sometimes, depending on how big the file was and how fast your internet was. Now you can get a whole movie streaming instantaneous instantaneous. Like our internet is so fast now. Another thing a boomer said that is different from the 2000s is accepting of former nerdy hobbies like video games, comic books, collecting different memorabilia or different stuff, and being a big fan of a particular piece of media, etc. Look, you used to be called a dork back in the day if you did any of this stuff, a huge dork. But now these things are celebrated. People know that those nerdy things, quote unquote, like there are big markets for it. There are conventions for it. People are getting some bread for it. I was a comic book collector. I didn't tell nobody because everybody would have labeled me a geek. I was, but I didn't want to be labeled that. I'd rather be labeled as a jock and a cool kid. Another boomer said things that have improved since the 2000 is cancer survival rates. Hey, look, with modern technology and medicine and better screening, more awareness, people are getting checked more frequently, catching it early. And yes, there are more success rates. That is definitely a positive from the 2000s. And the last thing, this one is funny and it goes back into the sex and gender thing, but I'm just going to read this entire comment that this boomer said. So, I taught high school until a couple of years ago. Teenagers are far more accepting of differences than they were when I was a teen. There is still unkindness because there are assholes in any population, but still, I was both surprised and gratified at the level of accepting of cultures, lifestyles, and differences. I sincerely hope this trend continues. I don't know if it's going to continue. There was a period of time, and I think it just ended because there's a lot of young people that are. It started with the lock her up, and then they're saying deport them. So there's a pushback, but by and large, yes, this poster is absolutely right, and you can see it in the schools first, right? The kids are genuinely just nicer and more accepting of other people, other cultures, other ethnicities, all that stuff than they were. Part of it is all due to technology, right? Before you feared the unknown, but because of technology and technology opens up our worldview, right? It's not just our little town anymore, it's the entire world. We can see things now. It's not new to us as far as seeing it for the first time, realizing that there's no reason to be afraid of it, and ultimately just being accepting. So that is really dope. I hope the trend continues as well. I don't think it will because it's starting to turn the other way, but it's good that there are still a lot of people out there that are just like, hey, you're different than me. And I think that's cool because I think it's cool too. I love people that are different from me. I don't want everybody to be like me. Then what would be so unique about me? Be different, be you. I like that. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock with will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast and YouTube exclusive content. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspective.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you really feel generous and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.